Hello, everyone. So we're going to start our AMA in the next 5 minutes. So you can tune in our Google Meet here or join the live streaming on Discord channel ABC Station. So for those of you who are new to ABC Station, so we are a Asia-focused developers community. So co-hosted by Sotatech, one of the largest blockchain development houses in Vietnam, APAC DAO Web3 community, and Megatech Insights. So we have been hosting a series of educational AMAs with a number of world's leading layer 1s in protocol, including Coinbase, Axela Foundation, it's like Polygon, and a number of other emerging chains. So today we're going to start our session with Cardano Spot to understand more about the Cardano ecosystem and the community. So we're going to start our session in the next few minutes. So please tune in, tell your friends to join us, and feel free to drop any questions in the chat box here on Discord. So we'll be back with you very shortly. Thank you and stay tuned, guys.
Hi everyone, I'm Saron. I am blockchain developer lead from Solatech. Today I'm so glad to be a co-host with Nico in this AMA. Hi Sebastian and Single. Can you introduce about yourself?
Absolutely, and thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to attend this AMA session. So let me give you a little bit of background to myself. My name is Sebastian. I'm the managing director or a managing director at Emergo, specifically focusing on driving Emergo Media, where the first product that we have launched is called Cardano Spot. I'm originally from Sweden, been in Singapore for about 16 years, where it's my home, and been in the industry for a couple of years specifically, while before being part of the Web3 industry, I was in regulatory technology and fintech in order to support Web3 companies. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm really thrilled to be in the Web3 industry. It's definitely the future. Thank you.
Hi everyone, you can call me Jingles. Currently I'm with Emergo Group with Sebastian. I'm the technical business development. But I'm a full stack developer in my heart. I enjoy building products and I can kind of code non-stop for hours without actually knowing, and actually find coding really fun. Yeah. And from a Cardano standpoint, or even on the open source kind of world, I have some open source toolings and also projects. And on the side, I also do some consultation, education to onboard developers. Yeah, so happy to meet you guys here.
Okay, sounds great, guys. My name is Nicole. I'm from APAC DAO and also from ABC Station. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. And yeah, we're gonna have more people joining us later. But definitely, we're gonna start the session shortly with a presentation by Jingles and Sebastian to understand about the overall ecosystem map of Cardano through Cardano Spot. We also learn about exciting updates and how to build with Cardano as well as some of the resources to help you to build on Cardano. Then we're going to go straight to the Tech AMA. So Sharon here is going to help us to deep dive into some of the technical angles with Cardano and Cardano Spot. And then we would also have the open AMA later. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat box here or on Discord at ABC Station. During the session. So we would also collect some of the questions and relay the messages, relay the questions back to Cardano Spot team. So this is an educational session. So please refrain from sharing any shilling messages or any price prediction, because definitely we are not here to discuss about price movement. It's going to be another session, but it's not under ABC Station. So please make sure that we have a more educational vibe in here. And please have any questions if you want with Cardano Spot, if you want to build or if you are keen to build something on Cardano. So without further ado, maybe Jingles, can we have you to start the presentation? Thank you.
Yeah. So today we will be covering a few topics here. As you can see, it's going to be a short presentation. Generally, an overview, what is Cardano, about it, and why build on Cardano, and how do you get started. And last part will be connecting with us through Cardano Spot. So about Cardano, Cardano is pretty famous. Like, it is a layer 1 blockchain. It has all sorts of application actually. Whether is it DeFi, is it exchanges, swaps, metaverse, NFTs, everything is on this layer 1 right now. So whatever you're interested in, I'm sure there's something for you to play with or build on. So this is kind of fun. So what are some examples? Actually, you can go to this website over here to browse some of them. These are not comprehensive at all, but these are a good taste of some of the nice applications where you can explore, browse around, and try it out. And most of them are open source actually. So if you want to get started, the best way is to build with these guys. Then there is also toolings, right? Toolings is so important. So to get started with these tools on Cardano, there's tools of many kind of languages and all kinds of tech stack as well. Whether is it JavaScript or even Java, TypeScript, whether is it front end or back end, infrastructure or API service providers, this is where you can browse them to see which tech stack that belongs, that suits your tech stack. And many of these are actually community projects, and they are there to help you succeed in building on Cardano. So browse around to see which is of your interest and talk to these guys. So why build on Cardano, right? There's quite a few reasons. I will just highlight 3. The first reason I would say is the community and ecosystem. It is definitely growing and very active, especially for the developer side of things. The open source community is pretty strong. Like most projects, there are projects that are closed source, obviously, but the open source toolings are quite. Most of them are open source. I think maybe even all of them. The network distribution and decentralization is very important for all blockchains. So currently there are more than 3,000 stake pool operators. Stake pool operators are important because they are nodes, they govern how the ledger is run, and over 70% of the ADA are already staked. So this helps to keep the network secure. When you write something, a smart contract, it will certainly be there, and no single power can really override the transactions, or there's no centralization that's going to happen on Cardano. Pretty hard. The third one I think is pretty important as well is predictability. With formal verification, this is very important for stability and security. And because when we test our code and develop our code, we design in testnet or pre-production, and you want it to work on the mainnet. So this is something that is guaranteed. So next will be how to get started, right? How to get started. There are 3 ways. There are many ways actually, but I just want to highlight 3 ways. The first one will be join a developer community, and this developer community is called Gimbalab. So you come and learn together. There are weekly Zoom meetings, and this Zoom meetings is called playground session. This is where people come and learn to each other, to ask questions.
Sorry, Jingles. Just one second. Yes, Marvis, could you test if the Discord sound is okay? Because some of our community members cannot hear Discord. Maybe just give us like 5 seconds to check on the technical side with Discord, yeah? Yes. Sorry, just give us 1 second. So Marvis, could you maybe restart the live stream? Yes. All right. Maybe, yeah, please, Jingles, please start your session. Restart your
Okay.
session.
Start from this slide, right?
Yes,
You want me
please.
to start from the beginning, or we should prefer?
It's really okay.
Okay, so how do you get started? There are many ways to get started, but I just want to highlight these 3 ways to get started on building on Cardano. So the very first one would be to join a developer community. This is called Gimbal Labs, where you come and learn together. There are weekly Zoom meetings called the playground sessions, where people come and learn from each other, they ask questions and bounce ideas. Secondly, this program is focused on project-based learning. This means that it's not about study the theory, what is blockchain, what is cryptography, but it's very hands-on, where every learners are here to build something for their own. And then the third is a very important one, which is active developer community. So with this community, you can form teams and build with each other. A very good place to start. Secondly, we need toolings. For toolings, this is what I suggested is Mesh SDK. This allows you to build, for example, it provides with wallet integrations, transaction builders. This can reduce a lot of complexity to get started as soon as possible. Like, it's not like you're gonna learn and try to hack something for 3 months. You can literally start within few minutes. And then there's, very importantly, is the documentation and guides. And it's not like documentation with words and words. You need to find and control F and all these things. In fact, it is interactive. So you can try the demo, sign real transaction to see what happens, and you learn from there. So I think that's wonderful. And then thirdly, there's a UI component and starter kit. The goal is to get you started as easy as possible. As easy as like 5 minutes, basically, 1 command line, right? So these are the 3, the SDK that you should go and try out. If for those who want to go in depth and get certified, you go to Amergo Academy. So they do not only have technical courses, but also business certification. Very serious stuff. It's a bit longer in terms like the course duration, but this is really go in depth. You get certified at the end. If you're interested in the Haskell, the DeFi stuff, likewise, you want to go in depth, there are programs for it as well. And after all the programs, you become the alumni. Alumni, usually they go for hackathon, they become, usually they have jobs as well in the Cardano ecosystem. So if you want to go in depth, become certified, this is the way to go, right? So, Cardano Spot.
All right. Thank you very much, Jingles. And maybe I can start off, because I think you have heard both, of course, Cardano as a name, but you have also heard Emergo as a name. And let me just clarify it a little bit for those who doesn't know. So when Cardano was formed and did their ICO somewhere around 2017, in contrast to other layer 1 chains, it's actually 3 organizations that was created in order to manage and drive Cardano as a blockchain forward. Those 3 entities are called Cardano Foundation. Cardano Foundation really focus on standardization, regulatory aspects, as well as bringing Web2 companies into Cardano and the support and help they do there. Then we have IOG or IOHK, what they called before, is really the R&D arm of Cardano. So they have focused on building Cardano as a blockchain itself. The third entity is called Emergo, and Emergo is the commercial arm of Cardano itself. So within the 3 entities, the person who leads IOG, his name is Charles Hoskinson. So he's a co-founder of Cardano, and the group CEO of Emergo is also the co-founder of Cardano, and his name is Ken Kodama. So that is how they relate, and all 3 entities are all Cardano. So slightly different compared to other chains. we are really happy to sort of present Cardano Spot and Cardano in Vietnam specifically, because we already know that there is a bigger Cardano community in Vietnam, and that is something we are really proud of and something that we want to support and help grow. One of the ways we can really see that the Cardano community is strong in Vietnam is that every quarter we have a opportunity for project owners to get grants of funding from the treasury of Cardano, which is called Catalyst. And what we can see in the recent Catalyst proposals is that there are over 100 of submissions from Vietnam itself. And that is quite big in the sense of an individual country. So we are really happy about that. However, related to Cardano Spot itself and why we really exist. So Cardano Spot is there to really empower and connect Cardano enthusiasts. So what does that really mean? We support individuals as well as companies that are developers. They could be entrepreneurs, they could be traders, they could be newbies. So anyone that have an interest in Cardano itself, we are the portal or the platform where you can engage with the Cardano community, and we provide information based on your interest. Additionally, why we exist is that we found quite a lot of opportunities in the Cardano space itself in order to support. One is that there are thousands of projects already building on Cardano, while at the same time there are in different stages of their business itself or their project, and traditionally maybe the top 20 or top 30 gets quite a lot of exposure within the Cardano community. We are here to support the entire long tail of projects. So whether you are starting with a project or you have really succeeded in the Cardano community, we are here to support you. So that's an opportunity we want to grab. The other thing we do is we are providing information about what is happening in the Cardano ecosystem. But at the same time, we can see there's a lot of people posting information about what is happening. We are there as a organization and a platform to curate that information to reduce misinformation, as well as building the first decentralized social network within Cardano ecosystem. Next. Thank you. At the same time, we are, as I mentioned before, really focusing on providing information. And today, quite happy can say that we are the leading provider of Cardano-related information globally, which has also allowed us to really grow rapidly, which you can see in front of you. And it's not only in the US or Europe, but we can see that there's a big growth in Southeast Asia. And through our partner networks, we then have access to over 8 million people globally. And why is that important? So as a project or as an entrepreneur, you need to get the kind of awareness and exposure as far as you can in order to drive monetization as well as users. So through us, we can help you reach to a broader audience that perhaps you haven't been able to do today. Next one. Now, adoption is really the key if you really want to succeed in this industry. So that is something as an industry, whether you're on Cardano or somewhere else, adoption into the real world is something that is really important. Now, we have so far successfully grown our users globally, which you can see in front of you. Now, moving forward within Cardano Spot itself, Southeast Asia is really important to us, and specifically Vietnam as a country. So we are very fortunate, as very focused on growing the support to developers, creators, traders from Vietnam itself, but also allowing them to grow their businesses both locally in Vietnam, but globally. Next one. Now, so what are we really doing? So why we are here is to empower and connect Cardano enthusiasts. Now, what are we doing? So we are really bringing Cardano community to you. As I said, as a new developer or an existing developer, having the community be involved is necessary in this industry in Web3. Additionally, by growing your company as well as your project, you probably realize that there are more focus areas that you need to take a look at apart from developing a product. So what we are doing is that we are connecting you with potential further co-founders, maybe partners that you're looking for within the Cardano ecosystem, to a certain extent business development, which is important, maybe mentors that you need in order to build your product, as well as moving forward. So we are really there to help connecting you with the right people within the Cardano ecosystem. So how are we doing this? Now, by creating the first social network in and for Cardano, it really brings the full strength and potential and knowledge of the Cardano ecosystem to the forefront. So at the same time, we have seen that perhaps in contrast to Ethereum, Polygon, and Bitcoin, there isn't so much information and news on Web3 media portals as well as traditional media that covers Cardano and the projects. That is one area that we are addressing to really provide coverage or media deficit on Cardano itself by working with our partners within Cardano, within Web3 space news portals, as well as traditional media. So if we have been doing a good job, we want to bring your projects up to the likes of Bloomberg, CNN, Forbes, and so forth. That is when we see that, okay, we have support that the community as well as your projects to the extent that we can do adoption as an industry, but also as a Web3. Also as a Web3. Next one. So what do you really get as a user on Cardano Spot itself? So mainly 4 different sections that we have. The first one is a newsfeed. So it's a personalized newsfeed similar to Twitter, LinkedIn, so forth, where based on who you follow, what kind of interest you have, what kind of projects you're looking at, we will constantly provide you updates around that. The second one is a project library. The project library serves almost like the yellow pages of projects. So we are doing due diligence of projects that wants to be featured in the project library. And within that, we will provide information such as white paper, do they have a token, who are the team members, what are the latest information articles about that project. And it's also something that the project owners themselves can manage. Thirdly, if you are in different kind of regions of Vietnam, or it could be that you are flying to a different country and you want to connect with the local community or you want to connect with a global community, it's important to know what is happening, what are the events going on in the Cardano ecosystem. So we have built an event calendar that focuses on Cardano so that we can help you reach out and connect with those people in those countries. And lastly, we have something we call Community Hub. And this is really where you connect with other people that have the same interest. So if you would be interested in DeFi, or you would be interested in NFT, or you would be interested in infrastructure or DEXs, this is where you connect with those people within those topics and can discuss and self-learn what is happening in the Cardano ecosystem. Now, what are the benefits that we can really provide you? So going back to what I said earlier, as a developer or an entrepreneur, specifically building a business, there are many areas that you need to address apart from actually building the product itself. So while building a good product perhaps doesn't really directly relate and mean that you can grow users or monetization of it, because there are other important areas that you also need to take a look at. And those could be community support, it could be marketing awareness of what you're doing, business development, sales. So this is really where we come in to support and help. By providing visibility, so we write a lot of articles about it. We do quarterly DeFi reports that is being shared in the community. We do community insights reports. So multiple different reports, as well as specific article around a topic, which could be, for example, stablecoin swaps. So we do educational areas as well as information about your projects itself. And then further, as I said, connecting you with the community itself. Thank you. Lastly, just want to say, please go and register at cardanospot.io.
Okay, thank you so much, Jingles and Sebastian. Very informative session about Cardano ecosystem. So now over to Sharon. How do you find the presentation so far? And is there any further questions for the Cardano Spot team?
Thank you for the presentation. That variable insight about the Cardano and Cardano Spot. I see that the chain is very interesting, and I want to know that is there any way to breed my token coin from a chain like Ethereum, BSC, and Solana to the network?
Yep. Currently, there is a proof of concept of like a EVM side chain, which is also open source right now. This is a Cardano side chain protocol. This is what it's called. It consists of transferring of assets between the side chains, whether is it wrapped ADA or wrapped native tokens, and it preserves its nature. So that means you can change and transfer back as easy as possible within the different chains. And also this Cardano EVM sidechain also provides a solidity execution environment. And this means that Ethereum smart contract can run without changing anything. And it has considerably lower gas fee. I also saw on the question here talking about L2, which is kind of relevant as well to this question. There's another thing called Hydra that's in the making. So that is like Cardano L1, but everything the same in terms of protocol, but on L2s with your own parameters protocol, and is for scalability.
Thank you. That's very clear for me. I see one of the question in the code is, I'm a builder. I see the slide mentioned about the benefit of using Cardano Spot. It support on building your brand and product awareness. Please elaborate the more which kind of spot is it, and how my product can get benefit from them.
Okay, I think that is a really good question. So there is numerous different ways that we help create awareness of the product itself. So one is that we discuss very thoroughly with the project owner around what is their intention of the product in order for us to build or to write articles. And that is something that goes globally, and it's also localized in multiple different languages. So what is the educational piece that you would like to share with the Cardano ecosystem in order to drive awareness of it? But secondly, would also be not only the product itself, that what stage are you in your product development, background of the founders, why you are building this. So anything that we can think of writing about you as a project or a product, that is something we do. We do quite a lot of Twitter spaces, or X spaces, I think we have to call it now. So we do roughly around 5 to 7 spaces a week. So we are the leading provider of different kind of spaces. Thirdly, we set up quite a lot of live streams, AMAs, similar to this concept, specifically for the Cardano ecosystem. There are other initiatives we do, but we are very much open to explore opportunities that would benefit those individual projects. And specifically, are they focusing on local market, or are they focusing on the global market? And where are the areas they want to touch base with?
Thanks, you. That's very helpful for us. One of the real question is Haskell is a not very popular programming language. Why do you choose it to develop Cardano node from the beginning, and it is too difficult to find a developer to contribute to the core of the components?
Yeah, so this is a very common question. And the fun thing is that unless you are very deep into the infra and the node level kind of thing, actually Haskell is something that you don't really need to touch. So just now I mentioned there are many tools of all sorts of languages. If you like JavaScript, TypeScript, that is my stack. And I only write TypeScript. And I have a lot of fun building dApps on that. And I don't really know Haskell in much depth at all. So unless you are into research and development, building the next side chains or some sort, then yeah, Haskell is required. And why did they choose it? Actually is for its security. It is so difficult and is in many ways not very creative. This is where security can come in. Loophole is not really found per se. And even there might be the number of population who know Haskell and able to hack it is kind of like not quite existent. So in many ways, Haskell is difficult and not very popular, kind of in a good way for security. But more importantly, it is secure because it is not so creative, or more like don't have so much features for loophole to happen. But you don't need Haskell to start building. That's the important point as well.
Thank you.
May I add something to actually the previous question? The last thing that we also do within Cardano Spot to really help projects, and that is something that of course is very important to grow the business, and that is funds investment. So within Emergo itself, we have VC arm, and we have connections to other VCs as well within the Cardano ecosystem. So at certain stage, we are more than happy to help bridge you with potential investors. Sorry, go ahead.
Thanks, Ratian, for the question, for the answer. Then I want to know the methods that Cardano using to minimize the information security of the and the risk. Can Jingo answer for me this one?
Yeah, sure. There are quite a few methods to minimize the risk and increase security. So I'll just highlight three that is kind of like more relevant or more personal to me. The first one is layer architecture. So it's designed in such a way that it separates the blockchain in distinct layers, like different layers, to reduce this vulnerability affecting the entire blockchain. So the two main layers are the Cardano settlement layer, and that is just for transactions. There's another layer which is Cardano computation layer, and that is just for smart contract. So imagine in future there's also the different side chains. They are all on different layers that reduce the risk of vulnerability. So that's number one. Number two is just now I mentioned the formal verification, where using mathematical proof, it ensures the correctness of the contracts, the transaction, even before it goes into the block. So any problem or loophole is already mathematically proved correct, and that helps to reduce some loophole, because this proof has a rule, a bounded rule that it should behave. So that is called formal verification. And the third one is consensus mechanism. So where there's a stake pool operator, it uses the proof of stake. It allows people to participate in staking their ADA. By doing that, it's very decentralized. Same as Bitcoin, very decentralized. And it reduces the risk of centralization. So it reduces the effect of a central power who own too much ADA or own too many stake pool and make the 51% attack. So that consensus mechanism is there, and very well decentralized blockchain like Cardano. Security is ensured through this decentralization kind of aspect.
Thanks, Ingo. That's very convincing for me. I see one question from Yiling here is, I see some learning courses offered by Imugo Academy, but there are not much detailed information. Could you share some more information like how long does it take, how much does it cost, and is free? Do you hire any Haskell developer via this program? Rosalind mentioned about the bot training, support and mentorship. What kind of support is?
Maybe I can take that question. On a general aspect, the Haskell and Plutus courses that Emergo Academy provide, and they also provide a third one, which is more like a full stack developer equivalent in Cardano, where you know both Haskell and Plutus. They are, as Jingle said in the beginning, quite in-depth, which means that the time for you to really be equipped with the knowledge would take several months when it comes to the course. The costing of it is going a little bit over $1,000. But I have some interesting news which I will be sharing at the end of this session, which maybe makes you, would make you interested to take a look at it.
Thanks. I have the wait. There a question from Adrian. When talking about the social network, you will define like the big compare with the big name like Facebook and Twitter. How can you different Cardano Spot from their other brand?
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's a really good question, Adrian. And I agree with you when it comes to the name. I don't think I managed to get my head around the word X. I still call it Twitter. But generally, I would say, in my view, the difference between Web 2 social networks and Web 3 social networks on a philosophical level is within Web 2 social networks, it's a really big focus on I and me. So what you do there is that you post and share information about what you eat, where you travel, what cars you drive, what dresses you wear. And there's a lot of focus on I and me. And you need to have millions of followers and users in order to monetize it, if you ever want to monetize it. Secondly, it's a centralized solution, while in Web3, in my eyes, it's a focus on we and us. So the mindset is changed in a Web3 social network, and specifically in a decentralized social network. And what I mean with we and us is specifically community focus. So you focus on how can we as a community help and support and drive this industry, this project, this product forward. And with that, there are a couple of things that decentralized social network want to address, and something that we are aiming to address as well. And one of it is transparency. So transparency, accountability, because within Web2 social networks, you have moderation, you have censorship and other things. That is something that will be reduced or eliminated in a decentralized space. Second one is control. So control of your data and the information you provide to the social network itself. Third one, which is a really important one, and that is ownership of information. So within a Web2 social network, you don't own anything that you post. It could be amazing, but you don't own it. It's owned by Facebook and Twitter. While in a decentralized social network, and what we aim to do with Cardano Spot is that it will be an ownership of you. So you can post this article, for example, on Cardano Spot. We display it, but you host it, you keep it in your wallet, and you can theoretically push this into another decentralized social network. So you keep the ownership. And related to the ownership goes back into reward system or monetization, which is the fourth pillar, which I think is a differentiation between Facebook and Twitter. You don't need to have millions of fans in order to monetize your content. So those are the main four aspects which we are aiming to differentiate ourselves from the likes of Facebook and Twitter.
Thanks. That means that when I post something on the Cardano Spot, that send a submit transaction on the network.
So there are multiple areas that we are looking at the moment, and maybe we are a little bit ahead of time to share a little bit more information. But ownership of content is something that we are really working on, and that means that you have the possibility to put content, your articles, your information on the chain itself, and with that, you are privy to be able to be rewarded from it. There are other areas that we are also exploring when it comes to more of instant messaging.
Thank you. There are questions from Minh Vũ Hải. The first question, Jingle already answered. The second is, which chain is Cardano compatible with?
Currently, the product is for EVM, so everything on the Ethereum and is all its L2s, the EVM, they are compatible.
So Cardano compatible with EVM. One more question from Thịnh Trường Quang. I have heard about new programming language like Can. So can you please tell me what is the difference of the language and Haskell? And although why were this language born?
Yeah, so Aiken is a new thing. It solves a few problems. So what is Aiken? Aiken is a way to write smart contract, and so for Haskell, when there's an error for developers, we usually when we debug, there's error on Haskell. The error is pretty messy. It's very difficult to debug. So this is one of the developer experience improvement that Aiken try to solve by giving you a more meaningful error. That's one thing. Also, secondly, for Haskell, in order to find the error, you kind of need to submit to the blockchain, and then the blockchain will say a lot of error messages come up, which is again not very friendly. For Aiken, they want to do it on your SDK, so they do have like the Visual Studio code extension, where while you're coding your smart contract with Aiken, it kind of help you detect error, just like a TypeScript. So I think in terms of developer experience, Aiken is doing a good job for making smart contract writing a bit more fun and easier.
Thanks, Ringo. One question from Long Nguyễn Bảo. Some of my colleagues told me about Lens protocol, which support a lot in the build of SocialFi project. Have you considered to include the mechanism of the project, the protocol into the future SocialFi project development?
I would say we are not integrating that because I just realized this Lens protocol. But there are so many of these social use case blockchain protocol that's appearing every month, that kind of thing. So we can take a look, but as of now, we are not integrating any of these social file or Lens protocol.
Thanks, Jimbo. I have curious about the transaction per second on the Cardano network. How many transactions per second that we can have on the Cardano network?
Transaction per second? Quite
Yes.
high. I forgot the number because that is a theory question. I probably need to look at the textbook, but I can't remember. But last year, there is a hard fork that happens and it increases the transactions even more. So it's quite good.
I think what we can add on to that, I mean, transaction per second, but also the possibility where instead of sending one transaction or one asset in one transaction, you can do bulk in one, and in that way you can utilize many more initiative and transaction into one.
Yeah. So to quantify it, I have sent more about 100 NFTs in one transaction. So you can imagine doing that. So if you have an airdrop of 10,000, you just need to send 100 times.
That's a lot. Thanks. The question, Cardano Spot seems very similar to Binance Fit model, in which you can apply to be a creator and create your community and connect crypto enthusiasts, as well as putting your thought on the crypto market. How different between the two products, and is there any plan to integrate blockchain technology into the building of your social network?
Okay, I think that is also a very good question. So let me answer the last question first. And the right answer there is yes. We are integrating blockchain technology into Cardano Spot, specifically when it comes to ownership of content, and we will continue build up features and functionalities that integrates the blockchain itself in order to provide value and support to our users. So that's definitely a yes. When it comes to Binance feed, yes, there are very much similarities between the Binance feed and one of the features within Cardano Spot, which is called the community hub or home feed. Where we differentiate is that we focus on the entire Cardano ecosystem when it comes to information. So not only the feed in the sense of getting updates, but also, as I said before, we have events. We actually have the market status page where you can see both ADA price, you can see native tokens, not for trading, but more so for additional information. We have social sentiment functionalities. We have possibilities for projects to manage their own pages. So there's quite a lot of differentiating factor what we do compared to Binance. The additional part here is the kind of support that we provide, if you would say, on one-on-one basis and offline, which is this entire awareness, media packages, connections to other individual and projects within the ecosystem. And that is not something that Binance itself is doing. They only have the feed.
Thanks. That is the last of the chat session.
Okay. Are we done with all of the questions from the audience? No?
We just go through all the questions from the chat.
All right. Okay, I think it's also about time as well. Maybe Sebastian and Jingles, is there any last messages from you guys? I think there has been quite a few interesting questions about Haskell and the new languages. So, I mean, some of the community members even asked, whether there's any point of learning Haskell at this stage. Sorry for this direct question, but I think we also need to kind of clarify, what is the perk for people to start to continue working on these languages. So if you could just clarify if there's any special perks for the community, that would be great.
Okay. Maybe you want to have the question, Jingles, about the language itself.
Yeah, just now I mentioned for myself, I don't know Haskell as much as I should or I could. But I find so much success in building applications and prototypes with Cardano blockchain. So you don't need Haskell. That is very important to know. And the icon is a good developer experience when it comes to solving that problem of debugging and giving you a nice error messages or the formal verification before it goes to the blockchain. So when it comes to languages, I would suggest check out Gimbal Labs and Mesh to get started with as little effort and zero cost. Then when you're ready and want to go in depth, get the certification, go for Amogo Academy. So Gimbal Labs, Mesh to start, and then Amogo Academy if you want to go deep.
And what I can add with that, I mean, there are different areas that need developers and need support and help, and that is to grow the entire Cardano ecosystem and provide opportunities. So if I may split the idea of having infrastructure developers as well as application developers, and both of those are very much needed in order to grow adoption, and also to grow the entire ecosystem. So there are developers that are needed in order to build applications, but may not require the experience to develop on Haskell or Plutus for their solutions, so they can utilize already built containers and work together with the three companies that Jingles mentioned. At the same time, there is still need for research and development within the space, and still needed for people to know how to code smart contracts with Plutus, to go deep on Haskell. So both kind of developers are needed to really grow. So that's why one doesn't exclude the other in order to get this ecosystem thriving.
Thanks. Sorry, you guys. I found one more question here. I heard about it blockchain, and I saw the secret network do the same. But I will wonder why developer deny it due to there will be many chains to validate. Do we have to worry about this? That talk about there will be many transactions to validate.
I'm trying to understand this question. Like all blockchain, whether Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, there is a block size. There's some kind of limit. So if there's someone naughty want to spam the network, it will get full. It will get crowded, and many of these transactions will just be dropped. So many transactions, if there is a crazy bug we are talking about here, and many to validate if it's over the limit, it will not be happening. It won't be added to the block. So there's nothing to worry about. The network will just be full. If it's able to wait for the next block to come in, then it's kind of fine. But if someone who is a bad actor, it will just be dropped.
Thanks, Jingo. That was the last question in the chat session. Thank you.
Okay, maybe I can share sort of last words from our side, and some really good news. So there's a couple of things that I want to share. Cardano itself, when it was formed, had different kind of phases or stages that we want to go through. and we are currently in the last stage of development, which is called Voltaire. And what Voltaire means is really on-chain governance. And what that really means is that up until now, the entire development of the core blockchain has been developed by the founding entity. And now we are moving over to allow individuals and organizations from the entire Cardano community to make decisions moving forward on what tooling is needed, what is important to grow Cardano ecosystem, and specifically on the on-chain governance. But that relates into voting power, decision on what needs to be done. So what has been set up within Cardano ecosystem is something called the Intersect. And Intersect is there as a membership-based organization that will take in people from the community that have an interest being part of this governance process to drive Cardano into a new era for even further decentralization. Governance generally is very, very difficult, whether you are in blockchain business or even running a country to do voting. And there are multiple different levels on how voting would be managed. So Cardano currently are in a stage to evaluate how should this on-chain governance be created. But once it's created, you would have multiple individuals that could be part of making then decisions on what is important. And not only that, there will be a treasury of fund related to Intersect, where then these individuals or organizations would decide how this treasury is being spent, which means that it will not be the founding entity's sort of decision moving forward. So I think that is really exciting. It's something that will take some time, but if you have any interest being part of this kind of process, I would definitely advise you to go to Intersect website. So that is number one, which is happening. The second thing which I'm really excited about, and that is Cardano Spot itself will be launching its version 1 platform in a week or so. And with that version 1 platform launch, we will have mobile applications ready, which we don't have today. So you will be able to access Cardano Spot on iOS as well as Android. Furthermore, we will also have the entire platform localized. Vietnamese is one language that we have already implemented. And we are continuously working with individuals that have an interest to collaborate with us to further make this platform fully Vietnamese in the sense of education, articles, and so forward. So really excited about that move. And then the last topic, which I hope people will be excited about, and that is we can provide both you as listeners as well as the members of APAC DAO a little bit of a treat, and that is to provide free Haskell course, specifically for our January batch. So moving forward, you can go to APAC DAO to get some more information about how you can join this Haskell course for free. So definitely looking forward to get some of you that have the interest to join the course itself and be part of the Cardano community. All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sebastian, Jingles, and Sharon. So it's also great news for the community. Please, we would also share more information on how you can apply for the free course, free Haskell course this January batch through the Cardano Spot team. So again, thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope that you got at least something to take away from all of these sessions. We would also host more sessions, on how to build on different platforms later. And today, thank you very much. I hope that we got more inspiration, to check out Cardano Spot, the Cardano ecosystem, and how to build on Cardano. So once again, thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a great day or a great night wherever you are. and looking forward to more sessions to come. So thanks, Sebastian and Jingles and Sharon again. So have a great night. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good evening.